John Carpenter's Toxic Commando takes everything its developer Saber Interactive learned from its previous Left 4 Dead-inspired games, World War Z and Space Marine 2, and adds it to a semi-open world, and then crams in a very unexpected but actually pretty cool idea from another game in its back catalogue, MudRunner. But does any of this make Toxic Commando worth playing? Well, after a big hands-on session with a preview build, here are 4 things I liked about it, followed by 3 things that I did not. Having a little bit of freedom in a game type that normally involves fairly linear level structures feels really fresh, and in Toxic Commando's tale of 4 infected mercenaries and their fight against the minions of a recently awakened sludge god, you can explore each location to your heart's content. Just like in Left 4 Dead, there are multiple acts here, each split into chapters, but instead of going from point A to point B and occasionally having a few big battles at choke points along the way, Toxic Commando opens things up and allows you to plot your own path. Do you gamble coming into contact with multiple hordes of roamers in order to hoover up every last bit of loot and scrap from the many points of interest on the map? Or do you just make a beeline for the main mission, but risk getting there with fewer tools and resources to defend yourselves with? And there doesn't seem to be a shortage of things to do when you're out there either. Obviously, most of your time will revolve around shooting various types of undead enemies, and the shooting feels great, so that's an absolute positive. And these zombies loosely follow the established Left 4 Dead formula of normal ones, explodey ones, grabby ones, poisony ones, and so on. But there are also weird tentacles all over the place that you can shoot, repairing and unlocking mini-games to complete, little out-of-the-way stash spots to discover, optional side missions to take on, and much more. Running down masses of squishy zombies with a car is always a joy, and it feels great to do in Toxic Commando for a number of reasons. Often it feels like there are hundreds of ghouls on screen at once, and grinding these clusters of creepers under your wheels as your teammates lean out of the windows to mow down the stragglers is pure 80s action movie excess. I loved it! There are multiple vehicles to find too, each with their own special abilities like the ambulance that can give a healing effect, or the self-destructing police car that acts a bit like Left 4 Dead's noise-emitting pipe bombs. The standout for me, though, has to be the HMV, which is an all-terrain vehicle and not, if you live in the UK, a struggling franchise of music stores.
HMV, top dog for music.
The HMV comes complete with a mounted machine gun and a winch, and this winch ties neatly into the other big inspiration for this game, MudRunner. You see, throughout the game's maps, there are many pools of mud and sludge dotted around that will slow your progress as you struggle to spin your tyres through the blockage, while more and more ghouls descend upon you. Shoot the winch at a nearby tree or piece of scenery, however, and you'll be able to pull the HMV out of the mud trap, or up a steep, slippery hill, giving you much more manoeuvrability. Plus, the way that the mud reacts and deforms according to the path your wheels take is lovely. It's the best that mud has looked since, well, MudRunner, I guess. I've already touched on the Hordes and the fact that they're made out of lots of zombies, but I'm never not impressed when there's a really big set-piece moment and you just see thousands of orange-eyed a-holes pouring over a piece of scenery towards you. Despite the open-world nature of the levels, there are still plenty of set-piece battles to look forward to on each one. Battles that often give you a little bit of prep time to shore up your defences before they kick off. And you can defend these areas in multiple ways, using special weapons like rail guns and grenade launchers, or mounted turrets and traps, but each of these will need a rare resource called scrap to unlock, hence the risk-reward exploration I mentioned earlier. Each Toxic Commando also has a special power, and in the case of Walter, the one I played as, he shot explosive bolts of energy from his hands. All of this ties into the very best bit about Toxic Commando, and that's the explosions.
Headshot, one bullet, one kill. Are you gassing or shooting?
These are best seen during those high body count forced battles where limbs and torsos go flying through the air in bloody arcs as you shoot a handily placed red barrel, thunk a grenade out of a launcher, or fire off a palm-sized piece of plasma into the middle of a writhing mass of mutants. It's just utter glorious carnage, the type of over-the-top comic book splattery gore that you'd see in something like The Boys, and I love it. Point, shoot, make the bad things do explode. It's the signature ingredient that every Left 4 Dead style horde shooter needs, and it's something that Toxic Commando excels in.
They're at the door. God damn!
Since you lost my package,
and almost died.
I need an alternate fuel source for my weapon.
John Carpenter's Toxic Commando may be called John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, but John Carpenter doesn't actually have too much of a presence in the game. His personality was the inspiration for the cutscene-only character Leon Dorsey, the CEO of the company that's unleashed the sludge-powered mutants onto the world, but he doesn't voice him or share his likeness. John did, however, create the title track for the game, in collaboration with his son Cody Carpenter and composer Daniel Davies, who also worked on John Carpenter's Lost Themes and Lost Themes 2 albums, which is a lovely little bonus for people like me who are fans of John's 80s-inspired spooky synthwave soundtracks. One of the many reasons why John Carpenter movies are so beloved is due to the fact that they often have highly memorable lead characters. Hello in particular to every single one that was played by Kurt Russell.
Have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir, the check is in the mail.
Which is why it's a bit of a shame that the Toxic Commandos themselves are a bit generic and bland. Sure, they chatter away with each other like Left 4 Dead characters, but they're fairly devoid of personality, and the lines they utter border on the repetitive and annoying, rather than the meme-worthy like
grabbing peels.
Seriously, Walter uttered the phrase,
I'm liking this,
at least once a minute during my hands-on, which is definitely enough to aggravate to the point that I think I'm going to be hearing it in my dreams tonight.
I'm liking this.
There are 3 types of currency in Toxic Commando, all of which are unimaginatively just called currencies in the menus. These currencies are actually crystalline resources called sludgite, the most common of which you can gather up from these weird tree thingies when you're out and about on a mission. The higher tier sludgite currency seem to be awarded for mission completions, especially when played on harder difficulty settings, but the amount you earn versus the cost of a lot of the attachments and cosmetics makes unlocking things feel like more of a grind than it probably should. I get that this is a design plan to encourage you to replay the campaigns on higher difficulties after you've completed them, a la Helldivers 2, but when there's so much customization on offer across characters, weapons and vehicles, and when the cost of each purchase is so high, it feels like you're going to be locked out of all the really good stuff unless you dedicate some serious time to the game. Now listen, this final point here might be something that annoys only me, but I'm bringing it up anyway because, well, I love to moan. This game is a co-op shooter about 4, count 'em, 4 Toxic Commandos. So why then is it called John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, singular? It's annoying and I keep calling it John Carpenter's Toxic Commandos by accident because, well, there's 4 of them, not 1. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Even played solo, the game still throws in 3 AI-controlled Toxic Commandos to play alongside you, so unless the plural of Toxic Commando is also Toxic Commando, then it doesn't make sense. But then again, the plural of Nintendo Switch Joy-Con is also Joy-Con, So when there are multiple Joy-Con, you just say Joy-Con and not Joy-Con. So maybe it's the same when there's multiple Toxic Commando? Ah, this is making my brain hurt. So yeah, a couple of minor minus points really in what seems like a super fun, gore-soaked co-op shooter. It's not going to win any Game of the Year awards, unless there's a new one this year for Best Zombie Splatter in a Video Game, but it definitely feels like one of those games that will be really fun to burn through with some pals over the course of a few evenings. Whether you'll want to come back again afterwards and replay it multiple times to grind for a nice scope and a fancy animated gun skin, well, that's up to you. I probably wouldn't, but I am definitely looking forward to clearing out some more sludge blockages when the game finally releases sometime this year. I hope. It got delayed already, but I think it's nearly ready. Dunno. Thanks for watching this preview of John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a like and subscribe to Eurogamer for almost daily videos about video games. Sludgy. Bye bye. Now is a great time to score some incredible games through Humble Choice. Live now through to September the 2nd, you can grab Persona 5 Royale, Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, My Time at Sandrock, and more. Whether you're building your backlog or discovering something new, this is the perfect time to pick up these fan favourites. Plus, every purchase supports a good cause, with this month's featured charity being Donors Choose. Get a curated mix of PC games every month, all for just £11.49 a month.